Welcome back to Trash Plays Marvel Champions. Today we are finally getting back to Age of Apocalypse content, and we are doing the Horsemen of Apocalypse with Ilyana Rasputin, aka Magik. And I am using her in aggression because even though I think that protection might be her best aspect just based off initial impressions, she did come with aggression, and this seems like a fight that I would like to finish quickly because there are 4 bosses, and we have to, for setup, we have to put them in a random order. So I'm going to roll a dice and just do them in a random order. So first up is 1 is going to be first. And then it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it just ended up in the order that they were in. And then we get a random one of their side quest as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if it's a 5 or 6, I'll just re-roll. 4, so the Spectre of Death is going to be the side scheme that comes out. However, these do get shuffled back into the encounter deck if I understand this correctly. Which, I mean, these are all pretty bad. So, Forced Response for the main scheme. This goes up to 12, luckily. 1 per person every turn. Forced Response after a villain activates, move the active counter to the next villain. So these are all considered villains. None of them are minions. But only 1 minion is active at a time, and that active minion is the one that actually does stuff. But you can attack any of the villains that you want, and anytime something you do targets a villain, you can choose whatever villain it is that you want to target. So these all seem to have effects that activate when they attack while they have at least 1 hit point. None of them can be defeated while another villain has at least 1 hit point, and for war, it is after war attacks. If he has at least 1 hit point, discard an upgrade or support you control, which is absolutely brutal. I do not want to deal with that. Famine has, after Famine attacks you, if she has at least 1 hit point, discard the top 10 cards of your deck. Which, alright. Pestilence has Forced Response. After Pestilence attacks you, if she has at least 1 hit point, treat your identity text blocks as if it were blank, except for traits until the next villain phase begins. What is my identity's text box? If, play with the top card of your deck face up once per phase. Oh, that's could be worse. And for Death, after Death attacks you, if he has at least 1 hit point, deal 1 damage to each character you control. That's not as bad. And the Spectre of Death gives an Amplify icon, so I want to get rid of this right away. It comes into play with 6 tokens, or 6 threat. And it has an Amplify icon. When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme deals 1 damage to each character they control, so it just activates the Death thing again. Okay, not the worst thing in the world. So let's deal ourselves our opening hand of 6. And the way that Ilyana Rasputin works is that when you switch to hero form, you get to put a card from your discard pile on top of your deck, and in hero form you play with the top of your deck face up. So hopefully I get a defense event to use right away. Nope, I do not have a defense event. The ability to play the top card of your deck face as if it were in your hand, reducing its resource cost by 1, that is once per phase. So that's villain phase and hero phase. So if I had a defense event I could put back on top, that would have been great, but I don't. I also need to declare who is the active villain. That is currently war. And let's see what we want to do. I have my soul sword. This is restricted, magic's basic attacking piercing. What, the top of your... Okay, so this increases my attack. I should get out my blood rage just because that is a... I only have 1 of this in my deck, because I only wanted to have 1 of them in my deck. So I guess I'll use my power of aggression for the blood rage, not because I don't have any other... but then after war attacks you, if he has at least 1 hit point, discard an upgrade or support you control. So I'd have to discard my blood rage, unless I discard something else. In that case, do I want to mulligan? I could try to mulligan and get a... Yeah, I could try to mulligan to get a defense card, since I can't play any upgrades anyways, because they're gonna get discarded after this attack. Let's just mulligan my entire hand. Sure, why not? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Limbo is an upgrade that I actually kind of need. Upgrade or support. So I could play 2 upgrades. Let's go 2 for combat training, or... Yeah, 2 for combat training, 1 for Limbo, and then not play the Stepford Cuckoos? Sure, alright. So let's flip... No, before I do that, I need to choose a spell in your discard pile and put it on top of your deck. I do not have a spell, so it doesn't matter if I switch over right... Oh wait, I do have spells. Okay, I can put Exorcism on top of my deck now. Yeah. Okay. So, flipping over to hero form, Magik. I flipped over to hero form so I can put a spell on top of my deck. from my graveyard. I am going to spend Audacity to play Limbo, and when I spend Audacity, I get to deal 1 damage to a villain, and the villain I'm going to deal that damage to is going to be... Oh, who do I want to get rid of first? I think War might actually be the worst one, so I'll deal that damage to War. And now I can, once per phase, I can play the top card of my deck as if it were my hand, reducing its resource cost by 1. So I can play Exorcism from the top of my deck as if it costed 1. So this costs 1 to remove 4 from a scheme, and if the top card of my deck has a mental or wild resource, and it does have a mental or wild resource, I can confuse a villain. So I'm removing 4 from the Spectre of Death, so this is down to 2, and I get to confuse... I'm trying to anticipate when I would flip over. I think I would flip over closest to around Death. So I'm going to confuse Death. And then I'll use 2 to pay for combat training, which I will discard momentarily. So that's going to be the end of my turn, and now I draw back up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. And then this card becomes my face-up one, and there we go, we got the magic barrier. So... War, the main phase gets 1, and now War is going to attack me. So this is after War attacks. If he has 1 hit point, I have to discard an upgrade or support, so technically right now I still have my upgrade or support. So War is attacking for 2, I am going to use my magic barrier from the top of my deck, reducing its cost by 1. When an enemy initiates an attack, prevent 3 of that damage from this attack. If the top card of your deck has a energy or wild, and it does not, deal 3 damage to the attacking enemy, but that's okay. So now... they are attacking -3, so it's -1, so I take 1 damage. And then because they attacked, after they attacked, I now have to discard a card I control, or an upgrade or support I control, so I'm going to discard the combat training, I'm okay with that. And now it is, no, now we flip, sorry, there's an amplify icon as well, so I take 1 more damage, and now we flip over a card. Okay. Golden Horse, attached to Z villain with the fewest hit points without the aerial trait. They all have the same amount of hit points at 9, so I guess I get to choose. Wait. With the fewest hit points without the aerial trait. So this is going to attach to War. Attached villain gains the aerial trait and is considered to have at least 1 hit point. Hero response after you attack that villain. Resolve its force response as if it just attacked you to discard this card. Okay. Sure. I am going to totally run out of room for this. I guess... yeah. I guess I'll put the hero response visible like that. Okay. And then War just attacked. After a villain activates, move the active counter to the next villain. Okay. So now Spiritual Meditation is on top of my deck. That costs 0, but I don't want to play it from the top of my deck because it costs 0. So let's see what I can do. I have Stepping Disc. Ready your hero. Choose a magic card in your discard pile not named Stepping Disc and put it on top of your deck. So I could search for another magic card. Ooh, I could get that Soul Sword back. I could get that Soul Sword back. Okay, so let's use the Stepping Disc. This will cost 1. Oh, no. First, I'm going to play Clobber. How do I want to play Clobber? I am going to use 2 Test the Defenses to play Clobber. Clobber deals 3 damage to an enemy. If this is the first card I played this round, return this card to your hand. So this is going to come back into my hand, and I'm going to deal 3 damage to War. And then I'm going to have Magik thwart the Spectre of Death, so she is now exhausted. Then I'm going to use that Clobber to play Stepping Disc. To ready my hero, choose a magic card in my discard pile not named Stepping Disc and put it on top of my deck. So Soul Sword is now going to come on the top of my deck, and I can play that from the top of my deck for 1 less, so now I get to play this for 0. The top of my deck has a mental, so I get no bonus. However, Magik is now going to thwart the Spectre of Death once again, and this is going to complete the Spectre of Death. When defeated, the player who defeated this deals 1 damage to each character they control, so I control 1 character. This puts me up to 3 damage, and I'm going to keep Magik's Crown in my hand, and that's going to be the end of my turn. So now I draw back up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And no defense events. I have Colossus on the top of my deck though, so that's good. So now it is the villain's turn. The villain gets +1 on their main scheme. And then Famine attacks. And when Famine attacks, Colossus has disability toughness. Interrupt when an enemy attacks you. Play Colossus from your hand, paying his resource cost, declaring him as the defender without exhausting him. But I can pay him from the top of my deck for 2 less. Or for 1 less, and so I shall use my Spiritual Meditation and my Magic or Mystical Armor. I don't see myself actually manually defending a lot, so I'm going to use these 2 to play Colossus. And Colossus has toughness, and he is declared as the defender without being exhausted. So now Famine is attacking, Colossus is defending, and boosting for nothing, so the tough goes away. And that's the end of Famine's attack. However, he does have 1 hit point, so I now have to discard the top 10 cards of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards off the top of my deck go bye-bye, and this is now the top of my deck. It is Blood Gem. And now it is passed over here, and we reveal another card. Sinister Strike. When reveal... Oh, I am playing with Standard 3 in normal mode, not in Expert. When revealed in hero form, place 1 counter on pursued by the pass, and then if it has any counters, the villain attacks you. So now, unfortunately, Pestilence is going to attack me, and I suppose he has 1 attack. Colossus only has 3 HP. I'm kind of okay with Colossus blocking this. Even if he dies, it's kind of okay. Colossus is going to block this because he's unexhausted from his first block. So attacking for 1 and boosting for star. After this activation resolves, place 1 pursued counter on pursued by the past. So Colossus will only take 1 damage, and then 1 more counter goes on the pursued by the past. And this effect is that my identity's text box is blank until the end of the next villain, or till the villain phase begins, so now I can no longer play the Blood Gem. But that's okay. So now it's my turn. I guess in this case I will just play Magik's Crown. So I gain Steady, and if the top card of my deck is a mental or wild resource, I get +1 toward. And Magik is going to attack War to deal another 2 damage, so they're up to 6. And they're almost defeated, and well, by defeated, I mean they're almost... Oh, after I attack the attached villain, resolve its force response as if it just attacked you to discard this card. I could do that. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. After War attacks you, I would have to discard an upgrade or support. I would just discard Magik's Crown, because I don't see myself needing to thwart all that much. Magik seems to have a good thwart stuff. I think Pestilence, this should have moved over to Death as well. So I could flip over, because they are confused. Should I flip over? Yeah, sure, let's just flip over. So that next turn I can... If I draw back up to 6, there'd be 1 card left. So then I can put the defense event back on top of my deck. Yeah, let's do that. I'll flip over, I'm still exhausted. And then that's going to be the end of my turn, so now I draw back up to 6. And then it is Death's turn. Yeah, okay. So now it is Death's turn. The top of my card is not face up, I cannot play it. Death, first off, the main scheme gets 1. And then Death attempts to scheme, but they are confused. And then we reveal a card. That card is Rough Riders. When revealed, resolve the forced response on the active villain as if it had at least 1 hit point and attacked you. Move the active counter to the next villain and resolve its forced response the same way. After a villain activates, did Death activate even though they were confused? I don't think they did. So the counter still would have been on Death, but now this is going to move over to War. So it's doing the active villain currently, so Death is going to deal 1 damage to all my characters, so Colossus takes 1, I take 1. Move the active counter to the next villain and resolve its force response the same way. Wait, this does 2 of the force responses? That sucks. Oh, I have to discard another upgrade. I guess I'll... I haven't been using Limbo, I'm not... I don't need Piercing, none of them are getting tough. Let's just discard the Cell Sword, or Soul Sword. That's okay. But now it's my turn. Actually, I have 2 Soul Strikes in my hand, so I can just use that. So let's see what happens when I flip over to hero form. So I'm going to put the... Let's go... Where is it? Magical Barrier back on top of my deck. With Limbo, I'm going to exhaust Limbo to swap a card in my hand with the top of my deck, because I don't need to use this right now. I would like to use my ability. So I'm going to swap Magical Barrier with Test the Defense. And now, using Magik, I will play the top card of my deck as if it costed 1 less, so Test the Defense comes out, and every time I play an attack event, that gets a counter, and once it hits 5, I get to deal 5 damage to an enemy. Let's use 0 for Blood Gem. I don't think this is a very good card. Play only if your identity has a Mystic trait, max 1 per deck, resource. Exhaust Blood Gem and take 2 damage to generate a wild resource, but that's... if I need to use it, then I will. And then I'm going to use Gold Balls and Soul Strike to pay for Soul Strike. Deal 4 damage to an enemy if the top card of my deck has a wild or physical resource. I could just stun that enemy. It doesn't have that. But that's okay. I'm going to deal the 4 damage to War, and that is going to defeat War. They are down to 5. Oh, this should have been discarded. I don't actually remember if I triggered this hero response or not. But you know what? Let's just say I discard my Blood Gem just in case I didn't. And that will discard the Golden Horse. So now they have 0 hit points. So their active ability, their force response will not activate when they attack me. But now I still need to defeat all the other villains. And I can now use Spiritual Meditation. Play only if your identity has the Mystic trait. Draw 2 cards, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. Do I actually want to do that? Oh, because I played an attack event, I get to place 1 counter on tested defense. I'm not going to play my Spiritual Meditation, I'll just discard that. And I'm going to save Colossus to block with. Magik can still activate, so Magik is going to attack... Who's the next one that I don't like the most? I'm going to go with Pestilence. I don't like Pestilence the most, so she's going to deal 2 damage to Pestilence. And that's going to be the end of my turn. So discard, or unexhaust everything. I'm going to discard the Spiritual Meditation. Stepping Disc comes into my hand, and then I have to shuffle my deck and they get a face down card. Drawing back up to 5. And then the villain phase has begun, so I'm going to exhaust Limbo to swap a card from my hand with the top of my deck. So Magic Barrier is going to get replaced with Clobber. And then the main scheme is going to get 1. War is going to attack, and I'm going to use my Magic Barrier. When the enemy initiates an attack, prevents the 3 damage. If the top card of my deck has a... This is not energy or wild, so I don't get to stun them or deal 3 damage to them, but that's okay because they already are dead. So I'm going to prevent 3 of this damage. They're attacking for 2 plus... That's a 3 boost, so I still take 2 damage. And I don't have to discard an upgrade. And then they get a face down card. And the first face down card is Targeted for Extermination. This has... I can't defeat the main scheme. And the player who defeated the scheme confuses their identity. That's okay-ish. And the second card is the Ravages of War. This gives me +1 card every turn. So that is a high priority target to get rid of. And the player who defeated this scheme discards an upgrade or support they control. So they really don't want you to build up your board at all. This, yeah, okay. But that is it. Oh, this should move over to Famine as well. And now it is my turn. Do I have thwarts? I do not have thwarts. I have an attack. I only have 1 thwart, unfortunately, so readying myself to thwart this twice won't really do anything. I do have triage. First thing I should play should probably be Clobber, so I'm going to use the Power of Aggression to play for Clobber. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. I'm going to deal the 3 damage to Pestilence. And then if I played this as the first card this round, I get to return this to my hand. The top of my deck is a physical, so I think I'm going to use 2. Yeah, I'm going to use 2 for Soul Strike. Soul Strike deals 4 damage to an enemy. If the top of my deck has a physical or wild, I get to stun that enemy. So I'm going to deal 4 damage to Pestilence, which will bring them down to 0 hit points. They are still not defeated, but now I won't get blanked when they attack me. And they are stunned, so they can't even attack me. That was 2 attack events, so I get to place 2 more counters on tested defense. I gotta remember to do that. And I guess I really want to use... I really want to thwart that Ravages of War, but I think the smarter idea might just be to rush down the rest of the villains. The main scheme is still only getting 1 per turn. They haven't schemed at all. It might be smarter to just rush down the villains. So you know what? He should not have 6 damage. He should only have 2 damage. Colossus is going to stick around to block Famine, and then Magik is going to attack Death. Because Death, if I can rush down Death, that would make it so that when he attacks, I don't get any negatives. So that's going to be the end of my turn. I am going to keep... let's discard Stepping Disc. I mean, that's 2 attack. No, let's keep Stepping Disc in my hand and then draw back up to 5. I don't have my defense event, but that's okay. Main scheme gets 1. Main scheme gets 1. Famine is attacking. Colossus is going to block. And they're attacking for a boost of 1. That's going to defeat Colossus. And I have to discard the top 10 cards of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is now the top card of my deck, face up. Stepping Disc, excellent. And then this moves over to Pestilence. Nothing else happens, I believe. So now I get 2 face down cards. The first card is War Weary. This is a treachery. When revealed, you are stunned. Dang it, I'm stunned. If you're already stunned, I take 2 damage. And the second card is the Horsemen of Pestilence. Treachery. When revealed, heal 2 damage from Pestilence. That is her. So unfortunately, she is not defeated anymore. And give her a tough static card, and she activates against you. However, she is stunned, so the stun just goes away instead. Okay, rushing them down might be a little harder than I anticipated. Let's use my scrying, because I don't want to play the stepping disc, because I want to play the stepping disc from my hand to do another thing from the top of my deck. So let's use scrying. Look at the top 3 cards of my deck, draw 1, discard 1, and put 1 on top of my deck. So top 3 cards. 1 goes in my hand. That will be, I guess, stepping disc will go into my hand. Discard 1 will be beak. Oh, actually, no, wait. I can... Oh, these are all energy. It doesn't matter. Stepping disc in my hand, beak in my graveyard, exorcism on top. And then I'm going to attack, which will exhaust me. Let's use basic spell to unexhaust me with stepping disc. So I'm now unexhausted, and now I can put a magic card in my discard pile, not named stepping disc, on top of my deck. Any magic card. Sure, let's just go with Soul Strike. Soul Strike goes on top of my deck. I think Limbo should be unexhausted. Doesn't matter. Soul Strike goes on top of my deck, and then I'm going to play Soul Strike using aggressive conditioning, deal 4 damage to an enemy. The top card is not a physical or wild, but that's okay. I will deal 4 damage to Death, and then I get a counter on my test the defense. Followed by Magik attacking Death for 2. They are not yet defeated, but then I'm going to use my gold balls to play for stepping disc to unexhaust Magik, and Magik will attack again for 2, bringing them up to 10 damage. I don't know if they go past 10 damage. If they heal, would they heal from 9 or would they heal from 10? I'm not sure. Anyways, Exorcism is no longer on top of my deck because Stepping Disc will allow me to put my magical barrier back on top, and that's gonna be the end of my turn. So, end of my turn. Draw back up to 5. Villain phase begins. I'm gonna exhaust Limbo to put Magical Barrier back on top, so now I get to play it when Pestilence attacks me. So Pestilence attacks me, I'm using the Magical Barrier from the top, and that prevents 3 damage, so she's attacking for 1 plus Star, you are stunned. Dang it. Always with the stunned. But I get to prevent this damage. Is the top of my deck a... No. So I don't get to deal 3 damage to them, so the tough doesn't go away, and now I am treated as if my text box were blank until the next villain phase begins. Yeah. Main scheme should have gotten 1, I believe, and then this goes over to Death. And now we get dealt 2 cards. First card is Darkchild. Obligation. Give to the Ilyana Rasputin player. You may flip to alter ego form. That's good. Choose to either exhaust Ilyana Rasputin to remove Darkchild from the game, or deal 1 damage to each character you control to discard this obligation. Do I have any unexhaust in my hand? This Limbo should have given me the top card of my deck. I should have 5 cards in my deck. In my hand. I do have an unexhaust in my hand, so I am gonna just exhaust myself, and I will flip over to alter ego form, because why not? So Darkchild is now removed from the game, and then the second card is Release the Hounds. The first copy of Hound revealed each phase gains Surge. When defeated, the player who defeated this game searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of Hound and deals it to themselves as a face-down encounter card. This comes into play with 5. That's okay. I haven't seen a Hound yet. Actually, that makes it worse. I have not seen a Hound yet. That makes it way worse. There's probably a ton of them in here. How many Hounds are there in this game? 1, 2, 3. I've seen 2. Okay, they've been boost cards. That's fine. But now it is my turn. So my text block box is blank, so when I flip back over, I don't get to do the cool stuff, and Stepping Disc is a hero action, so flipping over actually did not do me any good. So let's just say I did not flip over, because just in case I decide to flip over this turn. I guess I'll spend the Audacity for the Stepping Disc to ready my hero, and because I spent Audacity, I get to deal 1 damage to a villain, so I'm going to deal that 1 damage to the Pestilence to get rid of the tough. Followed by... I don't have an attack event. I think I'm just going to use Magik to attack for 2 on Pestilence to bring them back down to death range. So now they're dead again, and now I just have to kill Famine. So I'm going to use 2 for basic spell. Wait, am I considered a... What is blanked out? Except for traits. I believe I'm still a Mystic, so I can only play this if I have the Mystic trait. I will use 2 to play... Basic spell to heal 3 from an identity. That's going to be me, so I'm back down to 3 damage. Oh, I'm stunned. How did I deal the 2 damage? I think it was from an attack. Alright, never mind. They're not in death range, but I will get rid of the stunned. So that's going to be the end of my turn. draw back up to 5, and now the top card of my deck is face up, and Limbo is unexhausted. I need to keep remembering to unexhaust Limbo. I don't have my defense event, unfortunately. So now it is Death's turn to attack me for 2. I am going to not block this. I think I am just going to go straight for the kill. So he's attacking for 2 plus 2, that's 4. I'm up to 7 damage. 7 out of 10. And then they get 2 cards. The main scheme should have gotten 1. This will pass over to War, but the effect does not activate, so the top 2 cards are going to be Ahab, Cyborg Tracker, this is not a Hound. Ahab, this is a minion, Toughness. When revealed, if Release the Hound is in play, it is in play, place 3 threat on it, otherwise find Release the Hound side scheme and reveal it, so this is going to get 3 more, but that's kind of okay, I'm kind of ignoring it anyways. Should have come into play with 5, yeah, this is the right amount. And then the second card is Rough Riders. When revealed, do the... this is the 2 things. It activates the 2 villains. Yeah, so now I have to discard an upgrade I control. Upgrade or support. I really want that test of defense, so I'll discard my Limbo. And then this will move over to Famine, and I will have to discard the top 10 cards of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the end of my deck. So now I get a face down card. And I think this face down card just flips over right now, so... let's see what this one is. Targeted for Extermination. I already have a Targeted for Extermination. This comes into play with 3, so I can't thwart the main scheme. I did reach the end of my deck, but the rules reference thing says that if you're discarding cards from the top of your deck and you discard more than you have cards in your deck, you don't keep discarding after you shuffle. So the new top card of my deck is Scrying. Don't really want Scrying on top. What's in my hand? Exorcism, Tempest, Clobber. I should use Clobber. I'll use Clobber with Exorcism and Tempest. Who's at death range? 1, 2, so I'd still need to do 11 more damage. Famine will attack. Ahab's also going to attack for 3. That's going to be quite bad. Can I deal enough damage to kill them both? I don't think so. But if I flip over, they're going to scheme, and I'm going to lose from the scheme. Because if I use Clobber, that will give me the 5th point for test of defense, and then I can deal 5 damage to an enemy. So that's going to be a total of 8 damage from Clobber onto Famine, potentially. But that's not going to be enough to kill them. And then I can attack and deal 2 damage to kill them, but I still need 1 more point of damage to defeat, or I still need 2 more points of damage to defeat Pestilence. So I could try to get lucky and draw 2 cards and get a... Wait, if I draw 2 cards, I'll get Scrying. And then I can do... Okay, no. I think I might win. Okay, I might be able to win. So, nobody has guard. Toughness, no guards. You are def range, you are def range, you are not def range, you are not def range. Okay, 2 for Clobber. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. That 3 damage is going to go on to Famine. That puts the 5th point onto Test of Defense. And after I play an attack event, place 1 test counter here. If there are at least 5 counters here, discard to deal 5 damage to an enemy. So I'm going to discard my Test of Defense to deal 5 more damage to Famine, and now they're up to 8, and because Clobber was the first card I played this turn, I get to return this to my hand. Now I'm going to use my Spiritual Meditations, play only if I have the Mystic trait. I do. Draw 2 cards, choose and discard 1 card from my hand, so I get to draw 2 cards. Stepping Disc and Scrying. That doesn't really help me. Yeah, that doesn't help me. So I'm going to discard the Soul Sword, just because right now I want pure damage. So now the top card of my deck is Magical Barrier. That also does not help me. I'm going to use Scrying, look at the top 3 cards of my deck, draw 1, discard 1, and put 1 back on top of my deck. So I still have not played a card from the top of my deck. So I'm going to draw Spiritual Meditation, I'm going to discard the Magic Barrier, and I'm going to put Basic Spell on top of my deck. I'm going to use a Spiritual Meditation to draw 2 cards and discard 1 from my hand. So I draw Mystical Armor and Basic Spell, discard Mystic Armor, and the top card of my deck is now Soul Strike. Okay, with all that done, I now just need to kill both of these guys. Still have not played the top card of my deck. So Magik can attack for 2 on Pestilence. I'm not stunned, nothing like that is happening. No guard. Magik is attacking Pestilence for 2, so they are now dead. Magik is exhausted. And now I can use Soul Strike with Clobber to deal 4 damage to Famine, and that will kill Famine, and now they're all dead. I'm fairly certain I did that correctly, and I have just won. Okay. Cool. That was interesting. That was an interesting fight. I'm not a fan of the 4 Horsemen's effects when they attack you and stuff, but that was very interesting. I probably should have tried to tort this earlier. Might have been easier if I just sorted this out, but it worked out. It worked out great. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. I really like the 4 Horsemen, and I really like Magik. Well, to be fair, I didn't really get to see Magik like to her full potential because I had to discard all of my upgrades because of War. So, you know, kind of screw you, War, but that's fine. Even without her upgrade, she still did really good. I'm also thinking that maybe I don't need to play her in Protection, simply because, like, you have so many ways to manipulate the top of your deck, assuming you're built out, that you would be able to get it so that the top card of your deck is a Protection event, more likely. Plus, I'm sure there has to be at least one aggression card that protects you. There has to be at least one, right? Either way, that was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed watching, and that I will see you next time when I go against Apocalypse, I think. I think he's the 3rd fight, which is kind of strange. Not too sure who I'm going to play yet. I might go for... I guess I should go for Bishop. Yeah, it might be time to see what Bishop is like and what the... Oh, what's it called? Sidekick. Playing with Sidekick is like. Because I see Sidekick and I'm like, I want to do something cool with Sidekick. But I look at Bishop's allies and I'm like, these aren't that cool. You know? So, we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'll see you there. Goodbye.